Hi everyone, in this tutorial we are gonna learn what is SQLAlchemy toolkit and how this ORM is used with SQL Server in Python project. SQLAlchemy is a powerful SQL toolkit and object relational mapper for Python that bridges the gap between Python code and relational databases like Postgres, MySQL, SQLite or SQL Server. It is absolutely free, open source, and cross platform library, which is released under MIT license. The benefit of using this particular library is to allow Python developers to work with the language's own objects and not write separate SQL queries. Before you start proceeding with this tutorial, I assume you have a good understanding of Python programming language and you should also know the fundamentals SQL database operations like insert, update and delete. So let's get started with this tutorial. I have a JetBrains PyCharm editor opened. We want to create a new project for this demo. Let me click on new project, SQLAlchemy demo. Here we have project venv file selected by default. We are gonna choose Python 3.13 version. Okay, click on create. It is now creating a virtual environment for this project. Virtual environment is ready for this project where we can install n number of packages. We are just going to install SQLAlchemy library for this project. Just open terminal and let's check whether how many packages are installed in this virtual environment with help of pip list command. Pip is a default Python package manager which allows developer to install different packages. You see that we have only pip installed by default in this virtual environment, that is Python package manager. So we are going to install a new package that connects with SQL Server, which is SQLAlchemy. It is installed. Just type the same command again, packages installed. Let me create a new Python program in this project to perform operations. Server demo. Let's import this and ensure that SQLAlchemy is working in this project or not. As DB, it will be an instance for this library and we will use print statement db.version attribute we will use to see its version. Run the program. 2.0.41 is installed in this environment. That's perfect. Let's remove this. Now I'm gonna show you my SQL Server instance which is installed on my machine. So I'm connected with super admin user. All right, we have one database that is employee. We have only one table inside. That is no use for us. We will create a new table in this database with help of SQLAlchemy library from our Python program. Let me minimize this. We will create few variables for SQL Server connection string like username, password, server, database, and driver. We are going to connect with SA user. The password is @admin. Server would be for us that is local host. It is SQL Express. Database is employee. Our driver would be ODBC driver SQL Server. These are the drivers by which we are going to connect with SQL Server instance. Okay. Now we are going to create a connection URL for SQLAlchemy engine. URL like this. We have to install this library on our virtual environment so we can connect with the SQL server. This is username colon password. Then we have server. This is the database. These are the drivers. All right. Now the next requirement is to install PyODBC library on this virtual environment, right? Let me copy terminal, type command pip install PyODBC. That is installed. Now we need to create a engine object db.create engine and then pass this connection URL. Connect method will return a connection. Let's close the connection as well with help of this close method. Now run the program whether we are able to connect with our database or not. It is taking time. We have some issues. It is not able to connect. It is not establishing a connection. That is because we are using @ sign with the password and this is not able to connect, right? We are going to use one package that is urllib.parse. So this is built-in library and we are just using this cot plus. All right, now just run the program. There is no error, which means that we are able to connect with our SQL Server database in Python program. If you do not have any idea on how to set up databases, so you can watch my previous tutorials on installing different databases and connecting in Python projects. All right. Now I'm gonna use metadata function, metadata object db dot metadata. Now create new Python object customers db.table. We are going to have a table name customers and then this metadata and we have to define our columns for this table. db.column id db integer and that would be primary key as true. Okay, then we will take another column name. It would be a string. We will take length of this column as 50 and then it would be a mandatory field. We will say nullable equals to false. It will not be a nullable field. Another column we are going to create as email. That is also with 50 lengths. The label is false. Let's add it to the database. We will say metadata dot create all and we will pass engine. So what this metadata object will do with the help of this create all, if any object which we have mapped with the metadata is exist on the database, that is not going to be created again, but if it is not exist there, it will be created by this method. So we do not have customers table on this database, so we are going to create this table with help of this. Okay, now let's run the program. This will create a new table into the database. Code is executed, refresh the database, check the tables. We have new customers table. This is new table with all three columns which we have defined in this Python code. And there is no row inside. Now let's add rows into this new table. We are going to create a query insert and we will say db.insert method. Customers object we will pass here and then values needs to be provided in this method, right? I'll say name as John, email would be john@test. So this column is a primary key, so we are not going to provide any value for this column, right? Now we will use connection object dot execute method and provide this query into this method. That's perfect. Then connection dot commit to commit this data. Now let's run the program. Connection is closed just above the insertion. Let me put it down and run it again. So program ran successfully. Just check the database. Run the query again for selecting the data. So we have one row. Suppose you want to get the primary key which is created recently in the table, that can also be retrieved with help of one attribute that is called inserted primary key. Okay. Now I'm going to create another record, Mike. So primary key would be 2 for it, which will be just written by this execute method. And we will get this because we may need this inserted primary key in the program further. And the program, you will get another record. And now you see that we have 2. That is a tuple object, right? All right. Sometimes you might need to insert multiple rows at the same time. We will not use this values method. We will just insert this list object, right? I have a list of multiple customers, user 1, user 2, user 3, and this list we are going to set into this execute method. Okay, so this way we can insert multiple rows at the same time. Sometimes we may need it. All right, if you run the program, you will be able to see multiple rows. You see user 1, 2, and 3. All primary keys are also created in the order. Now let's see how to select the data from this table. All right, this is insert query. I'm gonna say that result equals to db.select. This method will actually allow developers to pass one object, customers, and then here we will say that connection dot execute, and then we will use fetch all for getting all the rows. Traverse this object are in result and print this row. Right? Run the program. You will get all rows from the table on the console, right? We have 5 rows. We have 5 rows. All right. If you want to get any particular column's value, then you just use index. Maybe you want names, then you say 1 as a column index on the program. Okay, all names will be displayed one by one. Or there is also a other way to get the data. Instead of db.select method, you can say customers.select. This is also fine. All right, it will give you the same result. You see, if you want to get only top record from this table, just use fetch 1. We will get a single object result. All right, this will give you the first record, right? Very top record. You see, we have top record. If you want to get any value from a specific column, you will get the value. Let me roll back the code a bit. For selecting all rows, now I'm gonna show you the where clause, how to filter out data from the table. We will just say that where, let me say customers.c, that is a column alias, and I will say that name equals to Mike. So we will get all the records where a name is a Mike. All right. Run the program. Yeah, we have only one record. Okay, this one. Or you can say that ID should be greater than 2. All right. You will get only 3 records. Now we see what is update operation. Let me remove this where clause. We will say query update db dot update method. We will use dot where clause. We need a condition or we can update all the rows. Customers c dot id equals to 2, right? db dot update dot where, and we will provide values. Just update name. We will say updated rate test.com where id equals to 2. Okay, and we will pass this statement into execute method. and then connection should be commit. All right, run the program. So name is just updated with this email ID, right? Or if you want to update the data in a different way, so use customers dot update dot where. This is also fine, right? Want to roll back the name again, Mike, and email, we will say updated test. Okay, on the same record, we are saying that name should be updated with Mike and the email would be updated this. Okay, the program, it is updated. You see, if you don't want to use this where, just remove it. Okay, just remove it. And all your records in this table will be updated with name Mike and this email ID, right? And the program, you see that. Now let me show you how to delete query delete customers dot delete this method and where which row you want to delete that I would say customers dot c dot id where id equals to 2, so I will say query delete. Okay, so this will delete row number second right from this table, this customers table. Run the program. Second row is the more. Okay, 1 3 4 5. You can also use db.delete, db.delete. This is other way than customers and customer.id where id greater than 3, all records should be deleted. Run the program. We have some issues, customers. We have got mistakes here. Yeah, it will work now. All right. Run the program. So all rows which are greater than 3 in this column are deleted. Yes. So the benefit of using this SQLAlchemy library is to have leverage of multiple databases with same code base, right? You have to just change your connection URL, right? Okay, if you want to connect with your different database engine, you can just browse this URL. I will paste this URL into the description box that you can help with that. We use quote plus, which means that it will allow @ into the password. And then we have different type of database URLs like. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned how to get leverage of SQLAlchemy library in Python. So hit a like button and give me the comment down below of video. Don't forget to subscribe this channel. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.